All right, guys. Today I'm going to be teaching you about the end behavior of functions. A lot of times you'll be asked how the graph finishes or starts. Some teachers ask you how it rises to the right, or does it rise to the right, fall to the right, rise to the left, fall to the left. So the first thing is, for end behavior, you have to tell how a graph finishes first. You have to tell how it finishes first. Remember, if you're not first, you're last. And to tell how a graph finishes, you're going to look at the leading coefficient. Now, in order to find the leading coefficient, you have to put the equation in standard form with highest exponent down to the lowest exponent. So let's look at an example. If you got a function y equals x cubed minus 4x to the 5th plus x to the 4th plus 3. The degree of this function is not 3, the degree is 5, the highest exponent. So you would want to put it in standard form. So we have negative 4x to the 5th plus x to the 4th plus x to the 3rd plus 3. Now obviously you can graph this on a graphing calculator, but it's much quicker just to look at it and tell how the graph finishes. So you're going to look at your leading coefficient. Your leader is negative 4. Your leading coefficient is negative 4. Now as kids, we probably all played follow the leader. So however your leader is, that's how you're going to finish. So our leader's negative, so we're going to finish negative. Now what does finish negative means? It means falls to the right. All right, so leading coefficient's negative, it's going to finish negative, so it means it's going to fall to the right. What if the leading coefficient was positive? Well, let's say we have the equation y equals 7x to the 4th minus 3x squared plus 2. It's already in standard form with the highest exponent of 4. We're going to look at our leader, 7. 7's positive. We're going to follow our leader, so we're going to finish positive. And if we're finishing positive, the graph is going to rise to the right. And that's how you tell how a graph finishes. All right? After you tell how a graph finishes, then you can determine how a graph starts. All right? After determining how a graph finishes, you can determine how it starts. So for finish, we looked at the leading coefficient. To tell how it starts, we're going to look at the degree, or the highest exponent, on the function. So we're going to look at the degree, the highest exponent of the function. If the degree is even, we're going to start exactly the same as we finish. We're going to start exactly the same as we finish. Another way I like to remember it is, if you and I are even, we're basically the same. So even means the same. If the degree is odd, we're going to start opposite of how we finished. or how the graph finished. So even, if you and I are even, we're the same. So if the degree is even, you're going to start the same as you finish. If the degree is odd, we're going to start opposite. They both start with O's. And a lot of times we think people are odd if they're not like us, so if they're the opposite of us. So odd is opposite. All right, so let's look at some examples here. This is pretty easy, but you have to tell how it finishes first. Remember that. So if I have y equals 3x squared minus 2x plus 1. So first you tell how the graph finishes. It's going to finish positive because your leading coefficient is positive. Your leading coefficient, oh, that didn't work. Your leading coefficient is a positive 3, so we're going to finish positive. All right, now what does positive mean? It means we're going to finish going up, so it's going to rise to the right. All right, now we're going to tell how the graph starts. And remember, to tell how it starts, we're going to look at the degree. So the degree on this problem is 2. Remember, degree is the highest exponent. 2 is even. If you and I are even, we are the same. So if we finish positive, we're going to start positive. Now, how do you start positive? The start of the graph is to the left. Remember, you read a graph left to right. So if I'm starting positive, it means I'm going to rise to the right. All right, let's do another example. Hopefully y'all can see these. Let's do a function. We'll call this one f of x. Remember, f of x, g of x is all the same as y. Let's do 3x to the 5th minus 2x plus 1. So our leader's positive, so we're going to finish positive, which means we're going to rise to the right. So we're going to be finishing up high. All right, how we start, we're going to look at the degree. Our degree is 5. 5 is odd. Odd means opposite. So what's the opposite of positive? Well, negative. So we're going to start negative. Now, what does starting negative mean? It means on the left side of the graph, it's starting down low. So that means you're going to fall to the left. Okay, one more example, maybe two. G of x equals negative 6x squared plus 1. So how's it going to finish? We look at our leading coefficient. Remember, we're going to follow our leader. Our leader is negative, so we're going to finish negative. What does that mean? It means it's going to fall to the right. And to tell how it starts, we look at our degree. Our degree is even. Even, if you and I are even, we are the same. So if it finished negative, it's going to start negative, and that means it's going to fall to the left. Okay, so that's how you can tell how a graph finishes. You can also do it on your graphing calculator. I will warn you that most professors pick functions that you can't see the whole graph on, like the Zoom standard screen. So you might need to zoom out if you're going to rely on that, but I don't know why you type it in the calculator when this is fairly easy. Good luck on telling how graphs finish.